Hello, and welcome to Once Upon a Time in Black History. I am your host, Tamara Shiloh, author, educator, and owner of the Multicultural Bookstore in Richmond, California, and Las Vegas, Nevada. You can also find us on my website at onceuponatimeInBlackHistory.com. Our shows are sponsored by the Multicultural Bookstore, and if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, please send me an email at tamarashiloh@gmail.com. Alrighty then, let's get this party started. Hello, and welcome back to Once Upon a Time in Black History, where we uncover incredible stories of brilliance, courage, and innovation from around the world. Wonderful Black history. Today's episode brings us into the remarkable life of a man whose mind stunned scholars, silenced doubters, and helped shift the narrative about the intellectual capabilities of African people during slavery. His name was Thomas Fuller, often referred as the Virginia Calculator. Thomas Fuller was born in 1710, somewhere between present-day Liberia and Benin in West Africa. This region had strong mathematical traditions. Counting systems, riddles, and number games were woven into everyday life. Even though Europe at the time dismissed African knowledge, Thomas came from a culture rich in mental arithmetic long before he ever reached America. At the age of 14, his life changed forever. He was captured, shipped to America, and enslaved in Virginia in 1724. Despite the devastating experience of being enslaved and being denied formal education, he carried with him the mental tools and numerical understanding he learned in his homeland. He lived and worked on a plantation for decades. He never had the chance to read or write, yet his mind, and especially his ability to calculate, was extraordinary. Even without paper, pencil, or schooling, Thomas developed techniques for performing lightning-fast mental math. He could multiply enormous numbers, divide large quantities, and calculate time spans with incredible precision. Word about his abilities began to spread among people in Virginia. Those who heard about him couldn't believe it, especially in a society that falsely claimed Africans lacked intelligence. Imagine that. When Thomas was around 70 years old, his story reached some people working to end slavery. They wanted to prove that African people were not intellectually inferior, despite what racist pseudoscience claimed. So they put Thomas to the test. A group of men, including a farmer and a politician, gave Thomas a series of huge math problems, questions they were certain no uneducated person could answer quickly. One question asked, how many seconds are in 70 years, 17 days, and 12 hours? Thomas paused, thought quietly, and gave an exact number. The men had done the calculation using pen and paper, and they thought Thomas was wrong until they realized they had forgotten leap years. Thomas was correct. Another time, someone tested him by asking, if a farmer has 6 cows and each cow produces 7 liters of milk a day for 48 days, how much milk is that? He solved it in seconds. People who met him described him as calm, humble, and polite, but brilliant. His remarkable abilities stunned everyone, including mathematicians. After Thomas's death in 1790, psychologists and scholars tried to explain how he could perform such advanced mental calculations. Some tried to label him as an idiot savant, a term once used for people with extraordinary abilities but assumed intellectual limitations. But that label didn't fit Thomas. People who knew him said he was a self-taught thinker, someone who used logic, patterns, and memory tricks, skills developed from his African heritage and sharpened over a time. He wasn't a savant, he was a genius who never had the opportunity for formal education. Thomas's story challenged racist ideas and helped abolitionists argue that intelligence is not bound by race or circumstance. Thomas Fuller died at about 80 years old. He proved that enslaved Africans were not inferior. They were people of extraordinary potential, carrying sophisticated knowledge and skills that often went unrecognized or intentionally erased. Thomas never learned to read or write, but he didn't need pencil or paper to leave his mark on history. His mind, sharp, focused, and brilliant, became undeniable proof that genius exists everywhere, even the darkest times. So, as we honor Thomas Fuller, let's remember the many voices and minds whose talents were overlooked. And let's continue telling their stories so the world never forgets their greatness. So, thank you for listening to Once Upon a Time in Black History. Join us next time as we explore more powerful stories from Black history. And don't forget to visit the Multicultural Bookstore at multiculturalbookstore.com. See you next time. Thank you for tuning in to Once Upon a Time in Black History. For more information on this topic and others, visit the Multicultural Bookstore at multiculturalbookstore.com. And again, if you want to advertise in our podcast for a mere $25, please contact me at tamarshiloh@gmail.com. See you next time.